Long time no see, Carpet Munchers. JJ back at this time to give you a free play for Friday, May 24th. It's going to be the San Francisco Giants versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Robbie Ray, pitcher for the Diamondbacks versus Drew Pomeranz for the Giants. Seeing the line right now, Diamondbacks minus 130. Total is 7.5. Game will be played at 10:15 Eastern. So we grab a win last night with the Mets. Brings the channel up to 30-15 in MLB. That's 66% through 45 games. I took the day off yesterday. As you guys could see, got all freshened up, got the haircut, got my bronze shirt on. As you guys already know, when I walk in the house with this haircut, the wife just can't keep her moisture back. It's like walking into the eye of a tropical storm. I use an umbrella for protection, but even that only gets me so far. It's a legitimate tidal wave. Needless to say, she did like it. So it's been a while since story time on this channel, so I figured I'd give you another one here since it is Faxman Friday. About 6 years ago at work, I had an issue in the bathroom one early evening. Quick backstory, the old office I used to work in had a break room with a small men's and women's bathroom next to it. They were separated, of course, we're not animals. But here's the thing. Only 2 women worked in the office, and they both left at 4:30 in the afternoon. So guys like myself who worked till 6 had a nice free bathroom that was, peace and quiet once they left. So every day, if I had to take a shit after 3 o'clock, I'd hold it in, wait till both chicks left, and let the fireworks show begin in the ladies' bathroom. Now, no one even knew that this charade was going on up until one day where I made a mistake. Now, some asshole from work asked me to go with him to this dog shit diner. So he wasn't sitting there all alone like Steven Glansberg. I obliged. I had a buffalo chicken wrap followed by a coffee. Absolute recipe for disaster. My stomach was roaring in the afternoon, but I knew I just had to wait until 4:30. Well, the problem was one of these chicks decided to stay till 5 o'clock that day, but you can bet your ass as she was leaving, I sprinted to the bathroom at 5:01. Needless to say, shit got real in there. I lost track of how much toilet paper I was using. It felt like literally wiping like a marker. So I go to flush and I don't hear the full flush. So I get up and I'm like, holy shit. The water and shit were about an inch away from overflowing into the bathroom. And again, the break room was 3 feet from the bathroom. There was no plunger for me to fix it. So I waited a few seconds, panicked, and flushed again. Boy, was that a big mistake. The water and shit overflowed the toilet, past the bathroom, and into the break room. Now, calm down, folks. It wasn't like a monsoon, but water and some pieces of shit got into the break room. Good news is the toilet did successfully flush, though. So now the bathroom looks like a flood zone, and the break room looks and smells like a cesspool. I now have to tell the president of the company, who's the only guy left, what happened and that we need to get building plumbing on the scene like ASAP. That was legitimately the walk of shame. I walk into his office and he goes, "Hey, what's up, Jay?" I say, look, I have a confession to make. I just took a shit and backed up the bathroom in the office. We need a plumber like ASAP. He goes, Jesus Christ, not again. I'm like, fuck you, what do you mean not again? This is the first time this has happened. He's like, all right, I'll get building to look at it. They'll take care of it. I was like, oh, wait, one more thing. This was the women's bathroom that I backed up. He goes, why the fuck would you be using the women's bathroom? I was like, well, since there's no women in the office after 4:30, the women's bathroom is like practical free game. He's like, no, actually, it's not free game. I was like, well, I mean, honestly, that depends who you ask, because if you ask me, it's free game. And he goes, no, it doesn't depend who you ask, and it's not free game. So I told him, look, we can argue about this until we're both blue in the face. The break room needs our attention right now. He shakes his head and goes, I'd say this is a surprise, but I can't. This is not a surprise, especially with you. The plumbing guy shows up. My boss still has the camera footage of him walking into that mess. He grabs his walkie-talkie as soon as he walks into the room, calls for backup as if he had just reached a crime scene that was a bit more dangerous than he anticipated. My boss made me apologize the next morning to both women and swear that I would never use that bathroom again. But Guess who was right back in that bathroom on cue the next day after 4:30? Yep, yours truly. Moral of the story, don't ever change your roots, folks. All right, on to the game here. All right, so I'll make this short, sweet, and good to eat. Play is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks here behind Robbie Ray. For me, it's a few things here. For one thing, the Diamondbacks, I know, haven't scored more than 2 runs in 4 straight games. They haven't had more than 6 hits in 5 straight games. But now they draw gas can Pomeranz for the second time in about a week. When you run the platoon splits on Arizona, you'll see they're one of the best teams in baseball versus left-handed pitching. Right now, this team is really struggling to get hits together, though. But again, sometimes a team just needs the Space Jam juice in the form of a gas can pitcher to get those bats going. Now, I don't even look at this as, oh, well, you know, we're siding with a team that's not playing well, because the Giants are not playing well either. My thing is Pomeranz should be the magic potion for this team. Worth noting that despite, now these two just met recently, Pomeranz and Ray, and despite Pomeranz pitching well in that game, his advanced numbers for that game specifically had his SIERA at 8.74 and his xFIP at 8.91. So these numbers were much worse than what he actually produced as a stat line. The balls were getting absolutely scalded off him in that game, but finding gloves. If this repeats anything like it did in the last game, Arizona should be able to not only play a few runs, they should be able to play quite a few runs. The Giants, as I mentioned, are losers of 2 straight and 3 of 4 themselves. While they are home, they still draw Robbie Ray, who is a very good left-handed pitcher. In his last start, he did wound himself a bit with a few walks, but Pomeranz did as well. But again, Robbie Ray's stat line was still much better than Pomeranz's in that game. His advanced stat line, his xFIP was 4.02. He induced 2.5 to 1 ground ball to 5 balls. The slider was really working for him, and I would expect that to be similar again, but him to have a little better control in this spot. While the D-backs may be one of the best in baseball versus lefties, the Giants are actually one of the worst in baseball versus lefties, ranked 29th and 30th, with the only team worse in OPS versus lefties being the Marlins. I had a few different avenues to take going into this game. I thought about over 7, based on how volatile these two pitchers are. Either of these guys could end up giving up 8 runs themselves, but when you realize that these two teams are ranked 27th and 28th in total runs scored over the past 7 days, it's kind of tough to warrant the over. The under would have made sense based on how these two teams are playing recently, but the regular season numbers say this total is a bit low, so it's really a stay-away spot for me. But the big favorable spot for me is back in Robbie Ray in this spot. They just lost about a week ago in a low-scoring game behind Robbie Ray in the same exact matchup. Well, now it's flipped around and it's in San Fran. I don't think the location matters. If anything, I think the location helps Robbie Ray, as he tends to give up fly balls. That Giant Stadium the Giants field will help him out there, more or less being a big pitcher's park. I'd say, as it goes to how do we lose this bet, I think we lose this bet if Robbie Ray ends up walking more guys than Pomeranz, or makes a few mistakes that wind up in the seats. Outside of that, I think the Diamondbacks getting a second crack at Pomeranz here on such a short turnaround, especially after he luck-boxed out of a bunch of innings that he pitched in that game. I like the D-backs to strike him here and get on the board, and then Robbie Ray to pitch good enough to keep them in the game and get this to the bullpens. So again, the play is going to be Diamondbacks minus 130. I find this price profitable. As far as where this line goes, it's tough to say. Again, these guys did play a week ago where the Diamondbacks lost. So, I'm not so sure the public is going to be able to back Robbie Ray in this spot. But again, I like the spot. Again, you see the same shitty pitcher twice in 6 or 7 days. I just really like that spot for the Diamondbacks. I don't bet favorites this high often, but I certainly, again, Robbie Ray has been a guy we've backed before this year, and we've backed a few underplays for the Diamondbacks recently in the last few weeks. So I really like this spot. Again, Robbie Ray, minus 130, Diamondbacks versus the Giants. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, as always, thumbs up. If you did not enjoy, I hope you wake up with a dick in your mouth. As always, please comment below. I love hearing back from y'all about anything, any comments you have, questions you have. Please feel free to drop comments below. Even if you just want to say hello, hi, ciao, or tell me to go fuck myself, it's all acceptable here. As of now, all the lines are not out for tomorrow, so I may post another video tomorrow, or I'll post on my Twitter, as you guys know, at Uncle Dunkle with 3s for the E's. Link is in the description. Also, make sure notifications are on so you do know when I post my next vid. Thanks again, guys, for the loyalty, and I'll see you cats soon.